What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome back, my friends. Thank you for stopping by. In this video I'm gonna be going into the coils. I'd like to share the knowledge that I have accumulated along the way building these handles, these coils, and I'd like to share that with you so that you can succeed and make your coil correct way so that it's quiet, it's not cracking anywhere, it's solid, and it can last you for a long time. So let's start with a coil itself. Inside each one of these handles I have a coil. This coil made out of 14 gauge copper wire. This is a magnet wire. It's insulated, and it's I have 15 layers here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 windings per each layer. The total weight of this coil is around 400 grams. As you can see, each winding is really close to another winding, so there is literally no space in between them. Same way as inside here. If you look, you see how tight they are. Because some people are looking at the side here and they're like, oh, there is a gap here, here is a gap. No, that's when a wire goes from one layer and goes into another layer. There is gonna be a slightly gap here, like you see it right here. I don't know if you can see it well on the camera. There's another one here, but inside of this coil, each winding is really tight. Also, what I do is I use Flexit 90 resin along with claw tape, and I put the resin on the tape and I would wrap it each layer. So there is a 15 layers of this black tape filled with resin. So my end coil is one solid piece. It doesn't move anywhere. It's a one solid piece. This is the north side of the coil. This is gonna be a south side of the coil. The south side has a wire that's coming out from the inside and goes across the coil. The wire gets insulated with the extra heat shrink. Alright guys, so let me show you my older coil. As you see, this is a new one. This is probably 150th coil that I made. I made quite a bit of them already and learned a few things along the way. This is my coil, probably like number 10. This is one of the very first coil, so obviously it has some defects, and I'm gonna talk about it so that you can relate to them and possibly avoid them if it's something you haven't learned yet or haven't done it yet, or either way. So if we look in here, you see how this coil inside is offset this way. This shouldn't be happening. This coil has to be flat evenly in there. The way I do it now is I will place the plate. This is the bottom plate, and I will place it on the north side, and I will glue it before I mold everything, so that when my coil comes out, the coil in here is all the way on the bottom with the plate, basically bringing the coil as close as 1 millimeter away to the surface. So guys, this material is something that you use for building your printed circuit boards. They come in two thicknesses. This one is 0.7 millimeter thick, 0.6, 0.7 millimeter thick, and the other one, that's the one 8 by 11. They come in different sizes. That's the 0.7 millimeter, 0.8, 0.7, and the other size is 1.4 millimeter. I do not use this because I am trying to have my coil as close to the surface as possible. So I would use 0.7 millimeter, then I would scratch it, then I would put red high temperature RTV silicone in here, and then I would place this coil, center it, and I would put the heavy weights over it and let it dry out. So when it's done, it's permanently attached to the coil, and when I mold it, I would get my north side of the coil to be 1 millimeter away from the surface. That's how I do it. I use these inserts from the speaker. These are 6x11, I think, 6x9 speakers from like a vehicle, rear speakers, and they have these inserts. The magnet sits here, and then you have your speaker here. So I removed this out of the speakers, and I drilled a hole in there, drilled another hole for wire to come out, and one more hole to lock this bolt in there, like that. And then I will use a washer, and I'll tighten it, and I'll put my wire through and put this in a drill and start twisting it and get my wire wind up that way. So this is very helpful thing to build a coil. Without this, you cannot build a coil. I recommend you get this out of the metal. You can obviously have it out of plastic or wooden or something, but metal is the best way to go because it doesn't allow expand at the outside, at the end here. It doesn't expand at the end here as you get to the edge here. Alright guys, another thing, your wire, you make your wire from this point here to this point here 7 feet. By the time you insert it into the coil and insert it into the unit, you're gonna end up with about 6 feet section of the wire, and I have learned that 6 feet is like the optimal length. It's not too long, it's not too short. So you want your wire, cut your wire to be 7 feet originally, and you'll end up with about 6 feet once you install everything. As you can see also here, there is spaces in between the layers. I do not allow that to happen anymore. In this coil, you can kind of see how the coil is made. See how close each layer, each winding and each layer to each other. This is just for your references. This is the same coil inside here. It's 400 gram, made out of 14 gauge copper wire. Alright guys, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I got some more videos on the way, and I'll see you next one. Just stay tuned.